count me in if nothing else. Well, welcome everybody to my bad echo in the studio. Welcome everybody to Billy Fager Fieldhouse here in St. Paul, Kansas, where tonight the St. Paul Indians welcome in Galena in the start of basketball season. Welcome to our Richie's Pharmacy pregame show, where football season is over into the fall and winter time, and here comes basketball, where the Lady Indians graduate a big senior class, or a good senior class, and a lot of youngsters are going to have to step into a lot of role model playing here tonight. And a kind of a new-look squad up on the floor. A lot of returners, though. 3 or 4 returners. Sydney McCracken, the lone senior on the squad for the St. Paul Indian girls. Good junior class and sophomore freshman class, so it'll be a lot of youngsters getting a lot of playing time tonight. They look to fill a big void with the loss of the seniors last year, especially scoring from Caitlin O'Brien. She was their lead scorer last year, so offensively the Indians are going to have to work together and find scoring throughout their lineup. We'll go over tonight's lineup here in a little bit. We're about a minute and a half from the national anthem, and then we'll go over starting lineups. Galena comes to town with also a very young squad. As I was looking across their roster, only 2 seniors on the squad, no juniors and sophomores and freshmen. Big sophomore class, big freshman class. So they also are very young, behind the 2 seniors of Madison Cox and Emerson Johnson. So just 1 senior on the floor for the Indians, 2 seniors on the floor for the Bulldogs, as Galena comes to town. Now, next week, we get in full preseason, not preseason, but basketball season mode with the St. Paul preseason tournament, as they call it. Indians will start that tournament playing Chatopa, and then they'll roll right into bracket play. So we'll be in full swing with basketball here before Christmas, get a few games in before the Christmas break, and break over the holidays, and then we'll really be into full swing in basketball season. Indian boys, on the other hand, last year made it deep into the playoffs. Not much practice time before the first basketball game, just a few days, making it to that state championship game in football last year. This year they made it. Indians had another great season in football, made it into the 3rd round, got beat by a very good eventual state champions Hanover team. So the Indian boys, with a little more practice time here, and look to get, they also graduated a big senior class, so going to be a lot of people have to step into roles. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us to our Richie's Pharmacy pregame show, and I want to take a short break here to get everything lined out here. We should be up on the live stream. If anybody wants to click, go to this KKOY 105.5 website, click on the St. Paul Indian logo. It will take you to a YouTube live stream. Click on that. You should be able to stream live. We're going to take a 2-minute break. We'll be back after this 2-minute break. You're the St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Brand, I can still hear it echo, and no commercials. I can't hear any commercials.
At this time, the St. Paul High School Band, under the direction of band director Jim Harris, will perform our national anthem.
You there, Brianna?
We would like to welcome the Bulldogs of Galena High School to St. Paul.
I can't hear you.
This contest is being conducted in accordance with the rules set forth by the Kansas State.
I can't either. You're going to have to count me back in.
We here at St. Paul High School would like
and I can't hardly hear you, and I can hear an echo too.
Sportsmanship is
Welcome everybody back to Billy Fager Fieldhouse. Dan Vitt here, getting ready to bring start lineups for each team. And we will start with Galena Bulldogs. Everybody comes in 0-0 on a basketball season with the first game of the season. Addison Sparrow, a sophomore. And for the Indians, a junior, 5'4", Taylor Watrick, one of the returning starters from last year with a lot of playing time. Number 11, Madison Cox for Galena, a senior, one of the two seniors on the squad. For the Indians, number 12, the lone senior on the squad, Sydney McCracken, looks to fill a big role with senior leadership here this year. For Galena, number 12, Emerson Johnson, a senior, steps onto the floor, the second senior for Galena. For the Indians, Claire Bradshaw, young 5'8" freshman, gets the call. Number 14, Emily Hutcherson gets the start. 5'6" junior Emily Hutcherson with a lot of playing time last year as a freshman. And for Galena, number 24, Emily as a sophomore last year, J.C. Jensen, this freshman, gets a nod for Galena. Now our announcer's trying to get things lined out. Now it's going to be number 25, Claire Bradshaw, for the Indians. And last but not least, Riley McNeemer, a sophomore for Galena, gets a start. That'll be the 5 starters for the Indians. The last 2 starters for the Indians.
Number 14 for St. Paul, Emily Hutcherson.
Emily Hutcherson's already on the floor, 5'6" junior. Now Claire Bradshaw comes out, number 25, and number 33, Katie Coombs, a 5'10" junior. So we got 3 juniors, a senior, and a freshman on the floor for the Indians to start this season out. My co-broadcast partner, Mr. Mike McCracken's been on work travel for quite a while. Look to welcome him back, hopefully after the first of the year here sometime. In the meantime, my good friend Keith Smith's going to step in and fill in for him as he can this year. And we are getting set for the opening tip to start this ball game here, as Keith double duty as the announcer here, and now he's going to put a headset on and he'll join me here, keep some stats and do color for me. Keith, welcome into the ball game. You're kind of double dipping here on work night.
Yeah, Mr. Turlip wanted me to get down and do the announcing tonight and come up and do this too. I told him earlier in the season I would do that, and subbing in here for Mike.
We absolutely appreciate that for sure, and I want to thank everybody for listening to our Richie's Pharmacy pregame show. Keith will be stepping in for Mike quite a bit here to start the season. Who knows how long, because Mike told me today that he's going to get shipped out to another state here as soon as he gets done with his job up in the North Country. He says it's cold up there. He's ready to come home. And here it is with tip-off, and Galena's going to control the tip to start this ball game. Up above the timeline, they swing it over to the left wing to number 32. And now Jensen with the basketball kicks it back out to McNeemer, back out to Jensen over the left wing, moving the ball quickly. St. Paul in their typical man-to-man defense. Claire Bradshaw now a almost steal by the Indians, knocked out of bounds by Taylor Watrick. It'll stay with Galena.
St. Paul in that zone and doing a good job keeping them from the inside for sure.
And number 4 to inbound, almost stepped over the inbounds, is Scarro. Now into the backcourt. It's going to be fine because she was the first person to touch it. Now Jensen with the basketball, doing a lot, touching the ball a lot. Jensen and McNeemer. Now Scarro loses the ball on the floor. Watrick on it, now picked up by Claire Bradshaw, the young freshman. Down the court she comes, slows it down above the timeline, kicks it back to Watrick. Watrick up top of the key over the left wing to Emily Hutcherson. She looks in for Coombs, open up to McCracken over the right wing to Bradshaw. Now to the corner to Watrick. 7:06 left to go in the first quarter, just underway, no score.
St. Paul showing a lot of patience, just getting around the outside, probing this defense.
And now Coombs up with a tough shot, and it falls. What a shot by Coombs to start this game. She was all wrapped up underneath and fouled, and kind of threw that ball up from her hip, just trying to get rid of it on this shot, and it goes in and gives the Indians a 2-0 lead.
And she had Bulldogs all over her on that one.
Johnson on the foul. She misses the free throw. Rebound by Galena McNeemer. Over the left wing, drive hard into the basket, and it's going to be a rebound by Watrick. Now she loses it, kicks it inside, and shot up, no good. Rebound Hutcherson, and she's going to be fouled on the floor. As that shot was put up by McNeemer, it couldn't fall. Kind of fumbled around on the ground, and Hutcherson finally picked it up. Now full court press by Galena. Hutcherson in the right corner with the basketball, stops, kicks it back to Bradshaw. Bradshaw looking down, stops, kicks it back over to Watrick, almost drags her feet. Now it gets down to court to Hutcherson. Now the double team comes in the zone trap over to Bradshaw in lane, shot up, bank, good. Claire Bradshaw gets on the board. No fear at all showed by the young freshman there. Down the court quickly comes Galena over to the left wing to Scaro. We're down to the drive.
Looks like a foul on Sydney McCracken, possibly.
Excuse me, because I'm reading text from my old broadcast partner there, Keith. The live stream, I got St. Paul versus Galena in there, so I apologize if it says an old name. But either way, just click on the live stream. If you're trying to watch on the live stream, just click on the one that says streaming now or live now. It should take you right to it. Well, thank everybody for joining that live stream, and thank all our sponsors for bringing us a live stream. It's a good deal for everybody that can't make it to the game. Now St. Paul with the basketball. Bradshaw right wing with it. They lead 4-0 inside to Coombs. Layup good. Good ball movement. Way to break that press by the young Indian squad. Right back down the court comes Galena. McNeemer throws it inside wide open and over off the fingertips of Scaro, out of bounds, and she was wide open under the basket. It would have been a layup attempt for sure, but it goes out of bounds quickly. Into Hutcherson, a right wing against this. Now back to Watrick. She loses it, so it's a turnover against the Indian, and that's going to be a foul on Watrick as she lost the handle on the basketball. So there's a turnover against that press. Indians lead 6-0, 5:49 left to go here in the first.
St. Paul just complacent to set back in that zone. Actually, now they pick him up man-to-man. But
Jensen with the basketball. Back to Jensen up top. Over to McNeemer. Not very many subs in the game by either team yet. Kicked over to the left wing. Up to Scaro. Scaro drives in, kicks it out. Shot on the way by McNeemer. Short. Rebound is Galena, and she's going to travel with it. Scaro with the rebound, and she drug her foot trying to kick it back out. So a turnover on Galena. Now St. Paul tries to get it in. It's into Hutcherson against this zone press. Kind of a 3-2 look. She kicks it back to Watrick down the court to Bradshaw. Bradshaw ahead to McCracken. McCracken into the lane, off the left block, shot up, no good. Katie Coombs fights for the rebound, goes out of bounds and out on Coombs. So to go back to Galena. Number 30 checks into the game, and that's Emerald Struthers, another young freshman. Keith, young freshmen is going to have to step in with the big losses of not only Caitlin O'Brien, but also Rice last year from the big seniors, trying to fill some holes here. And the three young freshmen going to get a lot of playing time.
The Rice sisters really were an integral part of the teams the last 4, 5, 6 years, and going to miss them for sure.
Galena with the basketball, top of the key. Now the ball's loose. Hutcherson almost swipes it away, but it goes back to Galena. Scaro with the ball. Now Watrick with the steal. Watrick on the breakaway. Scaro trailing her. Shot up and no good. Rebound, though, is put back in there by Elise Doherty. Talking about another one of them freshmen. That's the three freshmen already seeing lots of playing time here on the floor as Struthers and Doherty both on the floor for the Indians. Back up top of the key is Cox with the basketball for Galena. Kicks out right wing. Can't see who that is. Now it's Jensen with the basketball. Back out to Cox. She drives on Struthers. She cuts her off the baseline. Back over to Jensen. Up top to McNeemer. Shot, left-handed shot off the bank. Good, and gets Galena on the board. Good, tough shot by McNeemer, the sophomore. 30-second timeout by Galena. We'll take a 30-second timeout. You're the St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Brandon, you're going to have to count us back in every time if you can't figure out the commercials. Just, you can start at 5 if you want. Welcome back to Billy Fager Fieldhouse here in St. Paul, where St. Paul girls lead 8-2 over Galena. 4:25 left to go here in the first quarter. Dan alongside Keith Smith. Glad to bring you tonight's ball games as we get the season started off Keith, next week we roll right into the St. Paul preseason tournament. So the Indians will start with playing Chitopa and then roll right into bracket play late next week. Ooh, there's a travel by Struthers. Man, she had a lane to go in and thought about it just a little bit too much and drug her right foot for the travel. It'll be a turnover on the Indians. Back to Galena. Cox with the basketball for Galena, trailed by Struthers. She kicks it back up top to McNeamer. McNeamer drives to the baseline, kicks it to Jensen. Now back to Johnson. Shot up too hard off the backboard. Rebound is Emily Hutcherson for the Indians. Kicks it off to Elise Doherty. Doherty drives hard down the right side, now into the free throw lane. Kicks it back up top to Hutcherson. Hutcherson to the right wing. Dribbles the basketball. Picks up her dribble in a little bit of trouble now. Looks. Kicks it to the corner to Coombs. Back up top to Hutcherson. The Indians trying to get a little rhythm here. Hutcherson into the lane. Shot up and she's fouled. She'll go to the line to shoot two. Good drive by Emily Hutcherson.
St. Paul being really patient on their passes and getting those ball kicking and been really nice inside.
Hutcherson lines up the free throw line to shoot two. 8-2, Indians lead. 3:37 left to go here in the first quarter. Emily Hutcherson, first free throw on the way and gets a high bounce and it goes through. As she settles in for her second shot. Integral part to this live stream, Keith, is our cameraman, Wilson Smith. We want to welcome him into the live streaming. Dalton Turner did all the football games, and Wilson's going to step in and do the basketball games. Second free throw is no good. Tapped back inbounds to Galena on the rebound. So Hutcherson, 1 of 2. Wide open underneath, layup, good. Nope, excuse me, rattles out, but she'll go to the line to shoot two. Is McNeamer. That looked like it was going to fall in and rattles out somehow. As Coach Tuck with that man-to-man defense was hollering for the help to come from the backside. It didn't get there quick enough. So McNeamer goes to the line to shoot two, and that's going to be part of the learning curve for the Indians. Keith, as Ashlyn Gaiman, also the 5-foot sophomore, steps into the game for the Indians. McCracken back into the ball game to give Katie Coombs a breather. So nice.
McNeamer might be tired. She didn't clear iron even on that shot.
First free throw's no good. Second free throw's off, no good. Doherty with the rebound. Doherty, ooh, almost double dribble. Kicked it back to Hutcherson. Back to Struthers. Struthers top of the key. Looks to reverse it. Over to Hutcherson, the right wing. The Indians got that motion offense running high speed here. McCracken at the baseline. Drives up towards the left wing. Picks up her dribble. Throws it across to Hutcherson. She loses it for a moment. Now she has it back. She's looking. Now she kicks it back up to McCracken. Swings it to the left wing to Doherty. Down to the corner to Gaiman. Gaiman dribbles back up top of the key to Hutcherson. Indians reset now. Man-to-man defense played by Galena. Pretty good man-to-man, too. Hutcherson drives in, and she's going to be fouled. And that's going to be on the floor. That'll be the 4th team foul on Galena. 3 team fouls on the Indians.
They're running that motion offense really well and getting the ball around the court and confusing the Bulldog women.
Downey, a young freshman, checks in for Galena. She checks in for Scaro as Doherty set to inbound the ball for the Indians. Lobs it into Hutcherson at the left elbow. Shot up and good. Right through there. Good shot by Emily Hutcherson. All right, back down the court comes McNeamer. Left wing shot on the way. Off the rim, no good. And there's going to be a foul underneath, but who's it going to be on? And that's going to be on the Indians, I believe. And it is on Ashlyn Gaiman. She's just trying to make a little room. As Watrick and Bradshaw checks back in the game for Hutcherson and Gaiman. Galena basketball underneath their own rim. Cox with the basketball looking to get it in. She kicks it into Johnson. And now Cox, shot on the way, off the front iron, no good. Rebound Bradshaw. Bradshaw down the right wing. Now she pulls up her dribble, kicks it back up top to Doherty. Swings it up to Watrick. Resets above the timeline. Man-to-man defense played by Galena, by each team now. The Indians in their typical man-to-man. Very seldom. As Bradshaw ended up on the floor, gets up back to Watrick. Watrick shot from left elbow is no good. Bradshaw with the rebound, shot no good. And rebound, Galena. They push the ball down the court. Indians stop the basketball off the left wing. Now to McNeamer. She has a drive to the lane. It's up and no good, but she's fouled on the good hard drive to the lane. Indians lead 11-2 with 1:55 left to go here in the first period as Katie Coombs comes back to the scores table for the Indians. That will be the first foul on Struthers. Team foul number 5 on the Indians. Excuse me. McNeamer's first shot is up and through there as Bradshaw comes out of the game. Coombs goes back in. So now it's Coombs, McCracken, Doherty, Struthers, and Watrick in the game. Second shot of McNeamer's right through there, so she's 2 for 2 on that stretch. And now the Indians almost turned it over. Back to McCracken, back to Watrick. And in the backcourt, she drives against the double team. Down the court, almost over the head of Struthers. She retrieves it, has to go high, kicks it to the corner of Doherty. She drives to the lane. Doherty's shot up long, no good. Katie Coombs knocked out of her hands. Ball's loose, ball's still loose, and it's going to be off of the Bulldogs, and it'll stay with the Indians.
That was a scrum down there, and the Bulldog fans didn't like that one at all.
The Indians basketball on their own baseline on the right side, about the edge of the arc of the three-point line. Watrick with the basketball, counts on, kicks it into Struthers, back to Watrick, sets her feet, three-point shot on the way. Ooh, off the back iron, no good. Rebound Galena, and that's going to be a foul on Watrick. Kind of a little cheap foul there on Watrick. That will be her second. Team foul number 6 on the Indians. Hutcherson checks right back into the game for the Indians, as well as Bradshaw. So Bradshaw, Hutcherson, McCracken, Doherty, and Coombs in the game for the Indians.
Just a frustration foul by Taylor Watrick. You got to get disciplined and not get those, because you find yourself out of the game.
And there's a turnover on Galena. Keith goes right out of bounds on an errant pass by the point guard. 1:21 left to go in the first. 11-4. Indians lead by 7. Bradshaw with the basketball against his press. She's bumped, and there's a foul. I was going to say that had to be a foul. Number 24, Jensen with a foul. That'll be team foul number 5 on the Bulldogs, 6 on the Indians. So the next foul by the Indians will put Galena in the 1-and-1. And we still have 1:18 left to go here in the first quarter. Both teams playing aggressive defense here, Keith. Galena with the press. Hutcherson with the basketball all the way towards the rim. Bounce pass over to Coombs. A little bunny shot from the baseline's good.
That's the way you break that up, that's for sure.
Ahead quickly, number 24, Jensen, back out to McNeamer. And the stole pass, almost stolen by McCracken. Now, remember, she traveled, no call made. Number 12, Johnson with the basketball. Back up top to Cox. Cox holds the ball, guarded by McCracken. Drives towards the baseline. Shot on the way. Off the rim, no good. Rebound, Indians. Bradshaw, and she's all tangled up down there, but she comes out of it. Pushes the ball up the floor. Down in the corner. There's 3 Bulldogs on her. Somebody for the Indians has to be open. Boy, I don't think she did travel.
I didn't either.
Travel call on Hutcherson. She caught it. They thought she drug her left foot.
You're right, Dan. It looked like they had 3 on them, and then 3 or 4 back against St. Paul. It should have been somebody open, but there sure wasn't.
Cox getting ready to put the ball in play to McNeamer. It appears as though the Indians' rotation a little deeper than Galena's so far here. McNeamer, I don't know that she's went to the bench yet. She goes hard into the lane. Shot, that wasn't even tipped. And it went out of bounds, but they're going to give it to the Bulldogs, saying it was tipped by Coombs, as it didn't even draw the backboard on the shot. Inbounds, back up top to McNeamer, right wing over to Cox, McNeamer, shot on the way, off the rim, no good. Rebound, Doherty. Doherty pushes the ball, tries to look ahead. Doherty looks behind her. Now she's in. Spins move left. She's going to call travel on her, as she was bumped hard.
A lot of contact down there, but
another turnover with 13.9 seconds left to go. 13-4, Indians up by 9. And that is, it was just a travel, excuse me. McNeamer with the basketball with 12 seconds left in the quarter. Indians lead 13-4, 7 seconds left. Shot Jensen, back out to McNeamer, drives towards the baseline, need to get a shot off, and there's the buzzer, and Galena fails to get a shot off at the end of the first quarter. The score is 13-4, Indians up by 9. We'll be back after this 1-minute timeout. Give us St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Still haven't figured out what button to push. Brianna. Oh, we're not even on the air? Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're not. Oh, no. Well, we're on the live stream. So everybody out on the live stream, enjoy the game because they're the only ones getting to listen, apparently. Okay. Well, I guess commercials ain't gonna matter then. We'll just keep talking. All right, here we go. Welcome back, live streamers. Got a little technical difficulty on 105.5, and we'll get that figured out. As Indians lead 13-4, up by 9, 8 minutes on the clock to start the second quarter here. As a little delay as the refs come to the scores table. 16 fouls on the Indians, 5 on the Bulldogs. The Indians will start with possession of the basketball to start this second quarter. As Struthers throws it in late and throws it right to the Bulldogs as she got caught leaning in and had to get rid of it. And there was a Bulldog standing right between her and Hutcherson. And then in turn ends up being a foul on Hutcherson, and that's going to send the Bulldogs to the line to shoot the front end of 1-on-1. That's going to send J.C. Jensen, the young freshman, to the line to shoot the front end of 1-on-1. First foul on Hutcherson, 7th team foul on the Indians. Jensen's shot up on his way, in and out, no good. Tipped in the air, controlled by, I think it's McNeemer. Nope, it is number 12, Johnson. And a travel on her turns the ball back over to the Indians. Let's see if the Indians can handle the press here. Hutcherson with the basketball, kicks it back up to McCracken. Now over to Bradshaw, now down to court. And Struthers, instead of going to the rim, slows down. Now she goes towards the rim, shot from the baseline on its way, no good. But she's fouled, and she'll go to the line to shoot 2. That foul is on number 11, Madison Cox, the senior. Her first team foul, number 6 on the Bulldogs. Shot on its way right through there by Struthers, the young freshman. On the floor for the Indians is Coombs, Hutcherson, Struthers, Bradshaw, and McCracken. Short on the second shot is Struthers. Galena with the rebound. That's Cox. She pushes the ball down the floor. Off to the right wing is Watkins. Shot on the way is three-pointer is good by Madison Cox, the senior. The score is 14-7. Indians up by 7. Hutcherson with the basketball. Drives down the baseline. Has a lot of room. Shot up, no good. No foul called. Rebound, Bulldogs. Here comes McNeemer with the basketball. Coming hard all the way to the rim. Short on the shot. McCracken with the rebound. Kicks it out to Hutcherson.
It was really good defense by St. Paul on that one. They didn't foul, but they pushed her out.
Three-pointer by Struthers. Ooh, off the front rim, no good. Rebound, Johnson. And right off, and steal by Bradshaw. Bradshaw down to the elbow. Shot on its way, no good. And she's fouled. And that'll send her to the line to shoot the front end of a 1-and-1. Bradshaw to the line to shoot the front end of a 1-and-1.
That's the second foul on J.C. Jensen for the Bulldogs.
17 foul on Galena, and that's going to be a foul on Katie Coombs. And that'll be the 8th team foul on the Indians. And see who that sends. I think that's going to send Johnson to the line for the Bulldogs to shoot the 1-and-1. First foul on Katie Coombs. Thank everybody for joining us for the live stream. As Johnson settles into the line for the front end of a 1-and-1, 8th team foul on the Indians. So a lot of fouls here. 7:05 left to go before halftime. First shot on its way off the back iron, no good. Hutcherson with the rebound. Indians lead by 7, 14-7. Here in the second quarter, down to the corner to McCracken. Sets her feet, three-point shot. Ooh, on its way, no good. Off the rim, short. Boy, the Indians had 3 good looks at three-pointers and just off the rim, no good. And that's going to be a foul on Hutcherson. That's going to send McNeemer to the line with the 9th team foul for the Indians to shoot the front end of 1-1.
With 48 left in this first half, the Bulldogs could be in the double bonus pretty quick.
Second foul on Hutcherson. Indians just a little bit slow on getting on that help defense and getting themselves into a little bit of foul trouble here. As McNeever settles in the line, the front end of 1-1. She made her last two. First shot on its way is off the rim. No good, didn't hit the rim, so it'll go right back to the Indians. That'll give the Bulldogs a chance to set up their press, their zone 3-2-3-1-1 press. Kick it into McCracken, now back to Watrick. Watrick settles in, hold it now. She starts to dribble over to Bradshaw. Count is on. Now Bradshaw down to the corner to Coombs. Wide open drive to the lane. Coombs shot fouled. As a wide open shot got closed up quickly by the Bulldogs, but they end up having to foul Coombs. I believe that's going to be on number 5. Yes, her first. Number 5 is Newman, the young freshman. So Coombs will go to the line to shoot 2. First shot on its way in and out, no good. 8th team foul on the Bulldogs. Neither team is shooting real well from the free throw line thus far. Coombs settles in for her second. Short on that one, so 0 for 2 is Coombs. Rebound Bulldogs. Johnson kicks it hand to McNeemer. Now shot on the way quickly, no good long. Watrick with the rebound. That shot was put up by Newman. Watrick comes down to the corner to Coombs. Coombs tries to make some room, kicks it over to Struthers, and her shot's blocked. And there's another foul on the Indians after Struthers got her shot blocked. And she's going to send the Bulldogs back to the line for the double bonus now, as that is the 10th team foul. That is the second foul on Struthers. That's going to send Cox to the line to shoot 2 with 6:18 left to go before halftime. Short on the first free throw, and that's going to bring Doherty back into the game for Struthers. Keith, you can always see them frustration fouls coming. Struthers got her shot a little bit blocked, a little bit slow, and then on the rebound, the person in front of her got the rebound and had to reach in there and foul. The second free throw by Cox is good as they cut the Indians' lead to 6. Doherty with the basketball, picks up a dribble, kicks it back to Watrick, kicks it ahead to Bradshaw. Bradshaw behind the back dribble, back to Watrick, over to Doherty into the corner to McCracken. Puts the move to the baseline, loses it for a minute, picks it back up, shot no good. Rebound Coombs into the lane, she goes, layup's good, and she is fouled. So she'll have the and one as the Indians now lead 16-8 with 6:01 left to go here before half.
Great move by Katie Coombs. She picked up that rebound and just went right to the basket, got attacked, and still able to finish.
Coombs' free throw on his way and rattles in there good. So she completes the three-point play. Almost a steal by Watrick. McNeemer with the basketball. That was almost a travel by Galena. Back to McNeemer, drives the baseline, out of position. Ooh, that's a charge. Yeah, and I'm not sure I agree with that call either, but either way, Bradshaw got there a little bit, but she did step in front of McNeemer, who was going hard to the basket, closed the lane down quick, and drew the charge. So it goes back to the Indians. The Indians lead 17-8, 5:48 left to go. Watrick with the basketball, crosses half court, keeps her dribble, back up top, extended 3-2. Now a three-point shot by Doherty, left wing, well off, no good. Johnson with the rebound for the Bulldogs. Kicks it ahead to Cox. Back up top to Johnson at the free throw line. Back to Cox at left wing. Shot on its way off the rim, no good. Rebound, Bradshaw fighting for it. She's going to be fouled, so she'll go to the line to shoot 2 because the Indians now themselves are in the double bonus with 5:20 left to go here before halftime. Pretty good competitive ball game here, Keith.
Yeah, both teams are hustling around quite a bit. They're not finding their offensive power, though, that's for sure.
We knew that the Indians was going to have to fill a big scoring hole with the loss of Rice, Sydney Rice, and Caitlin O'Brien last year. But so far, I've been impressed with the young freshmen with the, how do you want to say it, the fluidity, is that a word? They play pretty fluid with each other. got a lot of practice time in over the summer. Really have gelled in or meshed in nicely with the squad. Not scared to take shots as free throws are good. 18-8 Indians up by 10. Galena with the basketball. 5:13 left to go here before half. Into the lane. Shot up, no good, short. Watrick with the rebound as McCracken ends up on the floor. Watrick pushes the ball down hard in the center of the lane. Loses it. She's going to end up traveling as she lost a handle on it. And she's frustrated with herself.
Tried to create something there that just wasn't there. Galena kind of gave it her lane, but they got back in time. And
pretty tight traffic there in the center of that lane. Galena with the basketball. She feeds it off to Johnson. Johnson dribbles at left wing, guarded out there by Coombs. Over to Downey. Downey guarded by Bradshaw, kicks it off to Scarrow. Scarrow drives against Watrick. Now steal by Doherty. Good steal at the left wing by the freshman. Drives down with her left hand. Picks up her dribble. Double team. Now she's in trouble. She's going to get called for the walk.
Yeah, she picked up her dribble right around two Bulldogs, and they attacked and took advantage of it.
Nice steal by Doherty. She got caught in a double team and ended up dragging her feet and traveling. Right back down. Cox with the basketball. Crosses half court. Picked up by the timeline by Watrick. Off to the right wing is Newman. Up the top of the key. Now over to the left wing to Scarrow. And that's going to be a walk on Galena. So a turnover right back to the Indians. 4:17 left to go here in the second quarter. 18-8.
Coombs came over and got a hand on it, and I think it frustrated her enough that she had to regroup and take a step that she didn't have.
Nice crowd on hand for the opening night here at Billy Fager Fieldhouse. As McNeamer checks right back into the game for the Bulldogs. Short breather for her. McNeamer just a sophomore for the Bulldogs. Bradshaw, young freshman for the Indians with the basketball. Dribbles at the top of the key, now back above the timeline, kicks it over to McCracken. Back cut by Hutcherson in the lane, shot off the backboard, good. Give and go to Hutcherson, and good tough shot in the center of the lane. Gives the Indians a 12-point lead.
Did a great job finishing on that.
Shot, three-point shot on the way off the backboard, no good. Coombs with the rebound. Feeds it ahead to Hutcherson. A lot of Bulldogs back, so Hutcherson pulls it back at top of the key. Down to the corner to McCracken. McCracken looks inside, double looks again, tries to feed it late, and it's stolen by Downey. And she feeds it back to McNeamer. Over to Scarrow. Back up top to Downey. Down to the baseline, shot on the way by Scarrow is in there at the baseline, and there's a foul underneath. And I think that's going to be on Bradshaw and the Indians, and that's going to send number 13, Downey, to the line to shoot two. They counted the bucket by Scarrow. And on the block out, Bradshaw picks up a foul, and that's going to send Downey to the line to shoot two. So it's not a free. It was on the rebound. It wasn't on the shooter. You don't want one shot. You want two more shots. One of the fans here at Galena, as this is could be a 4-point play. She misses the first. You like the aggressiveness by a young freshman on the block out, but a little too physical on the block out. Galena in the double, both teams in the double bonus the rest of the way. Second shot no good. Two Indians fight for it. Hutcherson comes out there with it. Slows her dribble down, crosses half court, out timeline. Now Bradshaw with the ball, left wing to McCracken. McCracken back up to Coombs. Coombs over to Doherty. Doherty up top to Bradshaw. Bradshaw to McCracken. Indians being very patient here. Back cut by Hutcherson again in the lane. Layup, no good, too strong. Tipped around. Bradshaw comes out there with it, sets her feet. Layup, oh, off the rim, no good. Rebound Doherty. She fights for it and saved by Coombs. Now a steal on an errant pass. And now there's going to be a foul on Hutcherson, and that's going to send Galena to the line to shoot two. Man, a lot of opportunities for the Indians on the rebounds. And now there's a Bulldog, ends up on the floor. I didn't even see what happened over there, Keith.
A lot of contact. I think Emily Hutcherson tried to come back and get that ball, and smacked her pretty good.
Madison Cox goes to the line to shoot two. Indians lead by 10, 20-10. 10 team fouls on each team. Both teams in double bonus. 2:47 left to go here before halftime. First shot on its way short. No good. Cox, one of the two seniors for the Bulldogs. As Cox settles in line to shoot two. Second shot on its way and good. McCracken set to put the ball in play for the Indians. 2:46 left to go. 20-11. Indians up by 9. Doherty with the basketball, left wing. Kicks it up top to Bradshaw. Up timeline. 2:33 left to go before half. McCracken over to Wartrick, now over to Coombs. Coombs at right wing with the basketball up top to Doherty. Indians being very patient on offense. McCracken inside to Coombs. She's triple teamed down there. Tries to get it off to Doherty at the weak side and stolen away by Galena. Scarro with the basketball for Galena. Indians lead 20-11. McNeamer with the basketball now for the Bulldogs. Over to left wing. Back to Cox. Cox drives towards the baseline, kicks it back up top to Johnson, cross-court pass to Scarro. Ball fake on Doherty, drives the baseline. Good defense by Doherty, cuts her off. Johnson with the basketball. She's cut off by McCracken. Back to McNeamer. Shot contested by Coombs, no good. Coombs with the rebound.
St. Paul showing some really good defense right there. They answered
Really
every
good
call, yeah.
Man-to-man defense and a good block out by Coombs on the contested shot. Under 2 minutes left to go before half. We're going to give you a break as quick as we can to make sure we got things ironed out at the station. Back up top to Wartrick. She controls the ball up above the timeline. Over to Bradshaw. Bradshaw with the ball fake, drives the baseline. Now kicks it back out with a behind-the-back dribble to Doherty. Doherty down to the corner to Wartrick. Sets her feet. Shot on the way. Three-pointer in and out. No good. Coombs with the rebound. Euro step in the lane. No good. Fight for the rebound. And Galena comes out there with it. It's Johnson. Johnson kicks back to McNeamer. Now works it ahead. And that's a walk. And that's a travel on Downey. Downey, the young freshman, had a lane, and right when she turned around, McCracken was there and skidded her feet.
She had to take a step to avoid knocking McCracken over and go on the charge.
We owe you a break here in 1 minute right before halftime. Stick around for our Labette Health halftime show. As Wartrick with the basketball. Bounce pass inside, almost stolen by Coombs. Now it's on the floor. It's going to be a jump ball. Kind of a lazy pass by Wartrick, trying to bounce it into the high post. And that's going to be a steal or a turnover on the jump ball possession. And Hutcherson's going to come in for Wartrick.
It's Ashlyn Gaiman, yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Gaiman comes in. Left wing to back up top to Jensen. Now over to McNeamer. McNeamer in the corner guarded closely by Gaiman. Now she kicks it to Downey, and she's going to be fouled by Bradshaw. And that's going to send Downey to the line to shoot two in the double bonus. Second foul on Bradshaw.
St. Paul, they came out fired up this first 8 minutes of this game and really ran some good offense. And all of a sudden, it seemed like they've gone brain dead or something, Dan.
First free throw by Downey is good. 20-12. Indians up by 8 with 40 seconds left to go before halftime. Downey settles in for her second. It's on its way and in there and good. 20-13. Indians up by 7. Under 40 seconds left to go in the first half. Bradshaw with the basketball. Drives the baseline. Cross-court pass to Gaiman. Gaiman back up top to McCracken. She holds it up above the timeline. Set up the offense with 25 seconds left to go before halftime. A lot of movement. Now McCracken drives into the lane. Nowhere to go. Kind of no man. Now turn around. Shot up. It's going to be a jump ball. It's going to stay with McCracken. Or stay with McCracken. Stay with the Indians. As McCracken with that step through had a shot but got tangled up there. Had her shot blocked. Indians basketball. 15.7 seconds left to go before our Labette Health halftime show.
Had no help at all on this side.
Coombs with the basketball. Up the free throw line. Loses the ball on the floor. She ends up with it. Now it's just bouncing everywhere. Now Downey comes out there with Galena. Down the court she comes. Back door to McNeamer and blocked out of bounds by Bradshaw. 3.8 seconds left to go in the second quarter before half.
Nice play by Bradshaw to get that ball deflected.
Bulldog basketball under their own rim. Indians lead 20-13 into Cox. She did travel. I was going to say almost travel. She did travel. So with 2 seconds left to go here before halftime, it'll be Indians basketball. Going to have to get a shot up quickly. There's a lot of pressure here as the Indians are just going to hold it. And here we are, halftime. Indians lead 20-13. We'll be back with a Labette Health halftime show after this 2-minute break. You're listening to St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Hey, I can hear you. Hear commercials. Hey, Brian, I can't hear it. Can you talk to me? Are you there? I can hear the commercials real good, but I can't hear you. Welcome back to Billy Fager Fieldhouse here in St. Paul, where we are at our Labette Health halftime show, where St. Paul girls lead Galena 20-13 in a first half of basketball here to kick off the season, Keith.
Yeah, it looks like the St. Paul came out on fire, man. The first 8-9 minutes, they're running off it so fluid and looking really good and taking advantage of easy shots. And then I don't know if Galena's defense stepped up, Dan, or if or what happened, but they sure came out and started shutting St. Paul down. In fact, if you look at that first quarter score, St. Paul's puts 13 up, and Galena only with 4. Then the almost reverse as St. Paul only puts up 7 in the second quarter, and Galena has 9 points. So St. Paul, from the second quarter on, is losing as a game, but so St. Paul's going to have to shut down Galena and just not let them eat into that lead any more than they already have.
Two aggressive teams. Both teams ended up in the double bonus well before halftime. Shows the aggressive play. A little bit of zone trap full court pressure by Galena most of that first half. The Indians, in their typical man-to-man, never did press full court much, but that tight man-to-man aggressive style defense that they've played for years and years under Coach Tuck. And Indians, luckily, are pretty deep this year with the 3 young freshmen. So they're in a little bit of foul trouble. I mean, end up in the double bonus with, I don't know how many fouls they probably had in the first half. 13 would be my guess. But they're scattered out. I think nobody over 2 fouls, but they're scattered amongst about 7 or 8 different players. So Indians playing pretty decent, pretty fluid in the first half with 3 young freshmen having to play a lot of playing time here in the first half. So a good first half of basketball put together by the Indians. Galena also young, just 2 seniors on the team. They also have scattered their fouls out quite a bit. They ended up having the Indians in the double bonus also. Both teams kind of struggling from the free throw line early in the year. You expect a little bit of that. And I know the Indians have struggled mightily from the three-point land so far, but we'll go over stats more as we get deeper into this Labette Health halftime show. When we come back from this next 2-minute break, Keith's going to have some first half stats. Keith and I will have some first half stats in our Labette Health halftime show. We'll be back after this 2-minute break. You're listening to St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. hear anything. Okay. Did you get that? Yeah, you got that. Hey, we're ready, Brandy. Welcome back to Billy Fager Fieldhouse and our Labette Health halftime show as we have Keith go over stats here. What do you got for stats in the first half, Keith?
Well, Katie Coombs led St. Paul scoring in the first half with 9. Then we had Emily Hutcherson with 5. Then Claire Bradshaw with 3 points. Lise Doherty with 2. And Sydney McCracken with 1 on a foul shot. At the foul line, St. Paul not doing too good. They shot right around 50%, 36% from the foul line, and they could have another 4 or 5 points on this game had they just performed there. Taking a look at what went on with the Bulldogs, the leading scorer for them was Madison Cox with 5, and then a host of other players with 2 points: Addison Scarrow, Emerson Johnson, Raylan Downey, and J.C. Jensen. And of course, the Bulldogs returning the favor at the free throw line. They weren't hitting very well at all. I think they had 2 of 6 shots, 4 of 10 shots at the free throw line. So they didn't shoot much better at the free throw line than St. Paul did.
Indians only shooting 33% from the field in the first half, Keith, and as you said, 36% from the free throw line. I know that Coach Tuck's not going to be happy with that. The Indians were 0 for 6 from three-point land, so that really brought down their three-point percentage. Had 8 turnovers, 13 fouls, and they had 20. The good part is they had 20 rebounds. 13 defensively, and 7 offensively. So rebounds good. Shooting, hopefully that will kind of clear up here as the season goes along, as everybody kind of gets set here as we get set to get underway, especially at free throw shooting. That will really bite you down the road, Keith, if you can't make free throws.
That's right, and they just really, they came out hot, and they just cooled down in that second quarter. They just seemed like couldn't hit anything.
So the Indians up by 7, getting started to start the second quarter. Thank you, everyone, for listening to our Slow Bet Health halftime show. Stick around after this second half for our KW Trucking postgame show, and when we'll roll right into the Richie's Pharmacy pregame show for the boys game. Galena will start with the basketball, feeds it into Johnson. Johnson back to McNeamer. She drives the baseline, cross the baseline, cross-court pass, three-point shot on the way, off the front iron, no good. Ball is tipped around. Now Coombs comes out there with it. Coombs feeds it to Watrick.
St. Paul just needs to get a little more control. They seem like they're running pretty hard, which I know they're an aggressive team.
Hutcherson hard into the lane, but it's going to be tipped out of bounds by Galena, so it'll stay with the Indians. Good hard drive by Emily Hutcherson on that left side, as Watrick with the ball in her hand under their own basket. Looks, now kicks it into Bradshaw. Bradshaw up to towards the top of the key, over to Hutcherson. Hutcherson holds the basketball. Backdoor cut by Watrick into the lane, layup. Oh, off the rim, no good, but she's fouled. Indians doing a pretty good job on that backdoor cut on that aggressive man-to-man defense by Galena. Watrick into the lane, misses the layup, going to shoot 2 here as she settles in for her first of 2. First shot on its way off the rim, no good. So the free throw woes continue for the Indians. Indians lead by 20 to 13 with 7:27 left to go in the third quarter. Second free throw is right through there by Watrick. Indians retreat to their man-to-man defense. Bradshaw picks up McNeamer, who's quickly down the court, down to the corner. As the Indian a little slow to get back into McNeamer. Coombs on her, and she's going to walk as she tries to get her feet together. McNeamer. And here, this is a full court press by Galena. 3-2 trap press. Back to Watrick to the center. Center now tripped and loses it. Bradshaw recovers it. She's pressured hard by Galena. Feeds it down to the corner to McCracken. Now double team to her. She gives a little space. Drives towards the free throw line. Kicks it to Coombs. And it's going to be a foul on the floor on Galena. As McCracken did kind of take her shoulder and give herself a little bit of room. But just a little friendly nudge there, Keith. No harm, no foul. As Watrick with the basketball under her own basket, looks to feed it in, feeds it up top to Bradshaw. Bradshaw guarded closely out there by Jensen.
Galena's really stepped up their defense.
They're playing a tight man-to-man, which has allowed the Indians a couple back cuts. We'll see if the Indians can run another backdoor play here. Bradshaw with Jensen all over in her face, gets it off to Hutcherson, now to Coombs. Three-point shot left wing. Ooh, in and out. That looked good. McNeamer with the rebound. Pushes the ball up hard. Now pulls back her dribble. Now stolen from behind by McCracken. Good steal by her. Sneaking up from behind. Hutcherson with the basketball. Crosses the timeline for the Indians. Now cross-court pass to the corner to Bradshaw. Quick three-point shot. No good. Rebound McCracken. Ball's loose on the floor. In between her legs. McCracken comes down with it. It's going to be a jump ball. And that'll go to the Indians on the possession arrow. Now everybody retreats, but it's Indians basketball. It is white ball. Oh, yeah, it's Indians basketball because Galena got the ball to start the quarter.
I don't know if the players thought we were going down the other
Well, I think they flipped the arrow so quick when the players looked over, they seen the arrow going the other way, so they immediately ran. Hutcherson with the basketball, drives into the free throw line, kicks it back out to the corner to Bradshaw. Bradshaw into the lane, shot up on its way, no good, but she's fouled. Third team foul on the Bulldogs to start this second half. Indians lead by 8, 21 to 13 as Bradshaw goes to the line to shoot 2. And Johnson comes to the score table for Galena.
Jensen, 4 fouls on Jensen, so she'll be setting for a while most likely.
First shot in and out by Bradshaw. Yeah, Jensen picks up her 4th foul quickly here in the second half, so she'll go to the bench. Sorry, Keith, I didn't catch who came in. Was that Downey, number 13? Yeah, I believe it was. Second shot long by Bradshaw, so she misses both free throws. So Indians 1 for 4 in the second half free throws. Cox with the basketball in the lane. Shot up, no good. Gets her own rebound. Fights against Coombs. Put back, no good. That's going to be a foul underneath, and that's going to be on the Bulldogs. So 14 foul on the Bulldogs.
You're racking them up really quick.
And that foul's on Johnson, her third. So quickly, a couple Bulldogs with foul trouble, but they still stay in this full court press. 3-2 press. Applied by the Bulldogs into Watrick. Now back to Bradshaw. She pushes the ball across half court. She's going to be double teamed down there, and bounce pass stolen away by the Bulldogs, and it's going to be off the foot of somebody. It's going to be a foul called. That's going to be on the Indians.
There's frustration there too.
Indians, Galena's giving the Indians the sideline until they get across half court, then they're double teaming. These young Indian girls need to learn to cross back over to the left hand, go to the center of the court after they get past that initial press break, instead of dribbling into that double team and then picking up the dribble. Just my views. Cox with the basketball, kicks it over to Downey. She cut off the baseline by McCracken. Now McNear, layup good. Good give and go, or good look by Downey to McNear. Now Watrick double teamed down there. She triple teamed. McCracken, now there's all kinds of numbers. Into Coombs, layup good. There's a good press break by the Indians, and that's going to be a timeout by Coach Tuck. And that's going to be a 30-second timeout. We'll be back after this 30-second timeout. You're listening to St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Well, welcome back to Billy Fager Fieldhouse here in St. Paul, where the Indians lead 23-15. The Indians has kind of started this game with a 8.6 to 8-point lead, Keith, and just kind of maintained that along here through the second and early on in this third quarter.
Yeah, Galena's been playing even with them since about that 6-minute mark in the first quarter.
McNeamer with the basketball for the Bulldogs, guarded by Bradshaw. She's up top the key. Dribble with her left hand. That's going to be a foul on Bradshaw on the bump. That'll be the second team foul on the Indians. How many is that, Keith? That's third on Bradshaw, so she's going to have to come out of the game quickly as Struthers checks back in for her as Bradshaw picks up her third foul with 5:22 left to go here in the third.
Bradshaw and Hutchison both in foul trouble right now.
Cox with the basketball, or Scarro, excuse me, for Galena. Count is on, back up top, and that's a back court.
Nice pressure by Watrick there to force that back deep, and unfortunately that pass went in early, and Scarro had to leave her feet.
If Scarro would have just cut it in the back court, but she kind of got caught in between steps and had touched on one side of the half court, and momentum carried her into the back court. So turnover on the Indians. Watrick with the basketball. They lead by 8 with 5:14 into Coombs at the block. Back out to Watrick.
St. Paul just not able to score this half. I actually needed a team, but
Watrick with the basketball. Picks up her dribble. Now she's in trouble. Kicks it back up top to Doherty. Doherty over to Struthers. Struthers back to the top of the key. Over to McCracken. McCracken left wing with the basketball, way up by the timeline. Looks inside, now kicks it up to Watrick. The Indians being very patient, 1-3-1 zone, and that's going to be a turnover on the Indians. Watrick trying to hit McCracken with a pass down the baseline, off her fingertips and out of bounds.
Just a little too aggressive on that play. Fired it down in there. McCracken not able to recover.
Indians a little confused on who has who. Now they pick them up as Scarro with the basketball at right wing. Doherty's on her. Moves her feet to her right, cuts her off. Back up top to Cox at the top of the key. Watrick guards her. She feeds it off to McNeamer, who Struthers on her. Oh, there's a travel. They let her get away with that one. She McNeamer got the ball tangled up in her hands and off her fingertips and out of bounds. And number 20 in the game for the first, or Watkins, first time this half. Comes in for Downey. Jensen in foul trouble, so she's on the bench. So more subs coming in for Galena. Galena's basketball from the sideline. 4:17 left to go in the third. Scarro with the ball up top to Watkins. Over to Cox. Cox to Johnson at the free throw line. Coombs cuts her off. Back to Cox, and that's going to be a foul on the Indians as she drove the baseline. Indians too slow to get there to cut her off, and that'll be the third team foul on the Indians. Not on the shot, on the floor. So Galena basketball under their own rim. Into McNeamer, she traveled, and she got called for at that time as she tried to give the juke move and shuffled her feet.
She led to the basket with her elbow too there, Dan, so probably would have got called for the foul there.
Doherty back to Watrick. Watrick gets double teamed, gets it back to McCracken. McCracken now in a double team. The Indians got to get this ball across the court, and that is a 10-second call as the Indians took entirely too long to get that ball across half court.
They were breaking that full court press earlier, and then all of a sudden Galena spotted something now starting to make it work for them. Ooh.
Under 4 minutes left to go in the third. 23-15, Indians up by 8. McNeamer with the basketball, and she traveled again twice in a row. And it'll be Indians basketball here. Indians just need to be a little more aggressive on the dribble to try to break this press. Galena with 4 team fouls need to go ahead and be aggressive here as now McCracken comes to the center of the floor, now down to the corner. We got numbers. Struthers in hard, shot up good. Good drive by Struthers, and the layup is good from the left side. Right back down comes Cox for the Bulldogs, and lobs it into McNeamer, and she's fouled up by McCracken, and she'll go to the line and shoot 2. McNeamer, 25-15, Indians up by 10, but to the line is McNeamer to shoot 2. She settles in at the free throw line. First shot on its way in, short, no good. As Ashley Gaiman checks back into the game for McCracken. McCracken just picked up her 3rd foul, 14 foul. Second shot by McNeamer. Short, well short, no good. Tipped, and it's going to be stolen away by Johnson for Galena. Layup, no good. Doherty fights for the rebound. McNeamer comes out there with it. Lob inside to Scaro. Back out to Johnson at the baseline. Back to Watkins. Now to Cox. Cox guarded closely by Watrick. She sticks out her hand and tries to give a little room. 5-second call as Watrick tight on her. Good job by Watrick. A little frustration turnover is nowhere to go. Galena unable to get open, so good defense applied by the Indians.
Both these teams stepping it up on defense for sure.
Timeout, Galena, and we'll go ahead and take a timeout. We're going to take a 1-minute timeout. You're listening to St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Welcome back to Billy Fager Fieldhouse. 3:09 left to go in the third. 25-15, Indians up by 10. And with possession of the basketball, Galena with the timeout there. As Galena sticks to their press, Watrick with the basketball. Last possession, Indians turned it over with a 10-second call. And are in jeopardy of doing that again. Get it across, but it's going to be a steal, and that's going to be a foul on Struthers. She couldn't handle the pass. And Cox went after it. Struthers trying to get to the basketball, knocked her to the floor. 5th team foul on the Indians, 3rd on Struthers. So the Indians now themselves in a little bit of foul trouble. Watkins with the ball, guarded by Gaiman, now knocked out of bounds by Doherty. So stay with the Bulldogs. And it is Scarrow with the basketball on the sideline for the Bulldogs. Under 3 minutes left to go in the third. Indians lead 25-15. Cox with it, guarded by Watrick. Down to the corner. And it's going to be a turnover on the travel by the Bulldogs. 25-15. Indians up by 10. Possession of the basketball. Either team kind of pretty cold here in this second half. Another turnover by the Indians. Watkins with the basketball. And it's knocked out of, she loses it out of bounds. And it's going to go to the Indians.
Taylor Watrick just came up the court and just threw a lazy pass right there. Didn't even look. Referee and the coach having a little discussion down on the court here.
Conversation here between the coaches. Sorry, I was trying to. I'm sure the coach thought it was out on the Indians, but it wasn't. It was out on the Bulldogs. Struthers feeds it back to Doherty. Now ahead to Watrick. Watrick is blocked by McNear on the sideline. Foul on her. 15 foul. Third on McNeamer. Indians basketball. They really struggled against this press a little bit, and honestly, Indians got quite a few ball handlers on the squad here. A lot of times, one of my frustrations is the Indians are far too patient against that press. I think they need to attack it more. Watrick with the basketball, right wing to Doherty. Had Coombs for a minute, but passed up on it. Over to Struthers. She loses it for a minute, picks it back up. Now she dribbles the top of the key, reverses it to Watrick. Watrick at the left wing with it, back up top to Doherty. Now over to Gaiman. Gaiman looks inside on the cutter, feeds it down to Struthers at the baseline. She dribbles up. Now back to Watrick. Now feed inside to Coombs. Good feed, good position, good play. Katie Coombs. And with the assist going to Watrick, and the Indians with a 27-15 lead, under 2 minutes left to go in the third. As the Bulldogs, that's going to be a foul on Galena. Oh, wait a minute. Now they're going to change it. Who is the foul? Number 11 with Watrick with the foul as the Indians. Now Taylor Watrick looking around like, what the heck, is that on me? At first he called a charge on Galena, then he changed it to Watrick, who picked up her third foul. 16 foul on the Indians. Galena with the basketball. Feed inside. Johnson tipped away by Watrick, and Gaiman now with it. Gaiman back to Coombs. Coombs in traffic. A reach in, no call made. Now, holy cow, they don't even have the basketball. Who's the foul going to be on? I think you're going to call that on Katie Coombs. That was just two players got tangled up. And it is going to be on Katie Coombs. She had the basketball, got it knocked away from her. She didn't even have the basketball. 17 foul on the Indians. That's going to send Cox to the line to shoot a 1-and-1 with 1:43 left to go in the third.
Only Ashlyn Gaiman and Katie Coombs are the only two players with less than 3 fouls for St. Paul.
1-and-1 on the way and good by Cox. 27-16, 11-point lead for the Indians. As Cox goes back to the free throw line for her second free throw. It's up and on its way and in there. So Cox 2 for 2 on that run. Doherty with the basketball, dribble to the left hand. Now she steps, and she didn't cross the backcourt, thank goodness. And right through Struthers' hands and out of bounds. Another turnover on the Indians.
St. Paul just falling apart right here. They need to settle down and get their head in the game.
1:36 left to go here in the third. The Indians lead by 10, 27-17. McNeamer with the basketball for the Bulldogs. 17 fouls on the Indians, 5 on the Bulldogs. Indians need to play good defense, not let fatigue get him any silly fouls. Inside to Johnson. Boy, she traveled, no call. As she jittered her feet all over the place. Johnson there, she got called for the travel from the right elbow.
She took off before she dribbled the ball, and it was an easy call for the referee.
1:16 left to go here in the third quarter. Struthers with the basketball. Back to Watrick. Watrick hard down the right sideline. That's going to be reach-in foul on Scarrow. That's a 16 foul on Galena. Third on Scarrow. Indians basketball on the sideline into Doherty. Doherty feeds it right back to Watrick. Watrick dribbles center court, lobs it down to Coombs down the sideline. Ooh, had Elise Doherty on a cut, but now to Gaiman. 3-point shot from the baseline, no good. She traveled before the shot, trying to set her feet. So turnover right back. So a lot of turnovers on each team here, Keith, in this third quarter.
St. Paul just not handling the press very well. They actually handled it pretty decent in that second quarter, but then, I don't know, the Bulldogs picked up on something and really shut St. Paul down now.
McNeamer with the basketball, drives the free throw line, kicks it back out, now down to Cox at left wing. And knocked out of there by Coons, but back into Cox's hand. She's picked up by the timeline by Watrick. Drives towards the left elbow, keeps her dribble, feeds it back up top to Newman. Now over to Downey. Downey with the basketball, back to Johnson. Shot up and in and out. No good, but she's fouled. And she'll go to the line to shoot two with 33.5 seconds left to go here in the third. St. Paul leads 27-17. McCracken back to the scores table for the Indians. Johnson goes to the line to shoot two for Galena. 8th team foul on the Indians, 3rd on Coons. Shot on its way off the back iron, no good by Johnson. McCracken comes in for Coons, who has just picked up her 3rd foul. As Johnson settles in for her 2nd foul. Her 2nd shot, free throw. 27-17, Indians up by 10, 33.5 seconds left to go here in the 3rd. Shot on its way long, no good. And that's Struthers with the rebound, kicks it back to Watrick. Galena retreats ahead to Doherty. Doherty cross-court pass to Struthers. Struthers back up towards half court to Watrick. Resets the offense. She guarded by McNeamer. Kicks it to Gaiman, now to Struthers, top of the key. Struthers holds the ball by the timeline. Feeds it to Watrick. Watrick drives, and she's going to be fouled on the floor. 17 foul on the Bulldogs. That'll send Watrick to the line to shoot the front end of 1-on-1, and the Indians in much need of making some free throws here. 8.4 seconds left to go here in the 3rd. Indians up 27-17.
McNeamer and Jensen both with 4 fouls out there for the Bulldogs.
Watrick at the line. First free throw on its way off the rim. No good. Downey with the rebound. 6 seconds left. McNeamer with the ball. You know she's going to go hard to the rim. Nope, she feeds it off to Downey. Downey cut off by Doherty, and they don't get a shot off again. So at the end of 3 quarters, Indians lead 27-17. We'll be back after this 1-minute timeout. You're listening to St. Paul Basketball on Hot 105. Welcome back to Billy Fager Fieldhouse. Going into the 4th quarter, Indians lead. Lady Indians lead 27-17 over the Galena Bulldogs.
Bulldogs only scored 4 points in that 3rd quarter. St. Paul scored 7, so they got back up ahead by 7 now.
Bulldogs will start with possession of the basketball here in the 4th quarter. Indians up by 10. Cox with the basketball, looks to feed it in, feeds it in the back court to McNeamer. Picked up out there by Watrick. 18 fouls on Indians, 7 on the Bulldogs. Screen set by Johnson out of bounds, and it's going to stay with the Bulldogs off of an Indians' fingertips. As Jensen comes back into the game, she has 4 fouls.
Yeah, both teams just, we're going to start seeing a lot of people get knocked out here pretty quick, Dan.
Scarro with the basketball. Feeds it into McNeamer at the baseline. She outruns over Watrick. At top of the key to Cox, 3-point shot on the way and off, no good. off the fingertip to McNair, and that's a steal by Wartrick. Wartrick down the right side, all the way to the rim, and she's fouled hard and goes to the floor hard, and she'll go to the line and shoot 2. She is fouled there by Cox. And to the floor she goes, but she'll go to the line to shoot 2. Just the first foul on Cox, 8th team. Nope, excuse me, now they get it right. 3rd foul on Cox, 8th team foul on the Bulldogs. Wartrick struggled at the free throw line last trip up. Here's her first one right through there. Gives the Indians an 11-point lead, 28-17. She settles in for her second. It's on its way and rattles in good. And Johnson feeds it into McNair. Now 12-point lead for the Indians. Wartrick picks her up on the floor for the Indians is Bradshaw, Hutcherson, Wartrick, McCracken, and Doherty. 3 freshmen on the floor for the Indians.
Cox down on the floor. She tripped or fell or something.
Excuse me, 2 freshmen, and she loses out of bounds. It's turnover on the Bulldogs. Right back to the Indians it goes. Into Wartrick with the basketball. Feeds it center to Hutcherson. Back to Wartrick. Down to McCracken and over her head. And it's going to be a foul on McCracken. That's going to send Johnson to the line. Wartrick had a chance to dribble down the left sideline and tried a long cross-court pass to McCracken. It was too strong. McCracken tried to chase it down, bumped into Johnson, and she's going to go to the line and shoot to 1-and-1. 4th foul on McCracken. 9th team foul on, no, it's only 4 on McCracken. And McCracken comes back out of the game. It's the ref, for some reason, said is at 5. But Sydney McCracken, the lone senior, has to go to the bench again with her 4th foul early on here in the 4th quarter. As Katie Kuntz comes back in, and she has 3 fouls. Johnson at the free throw line, shoots 1-and-1. It's long, no good, and it's going to be a free throw violation on Johnson anyway, so it'll go right back to the Indians. Indians up by 9, 7:16 left to go here in the ballgame. Doherty feeds it back up top to Wartrick. Now down court to Hutcherson. She's going to be double teamed, and that's a backcourt violation. She threw it backwards a mile as Emily Hutcherson got caught in the corner and immediately give it up, but right back into the backcourt to Wartrick. She knew it right when she let go of it. As Jensen with the basketball, playing with 4 fouls. Down to the corner, hard drive by Cox, shot by the baseline, no good. Hutcherson with the rebound. She comes out there with it, comes down the court hard. Cross-court feed off of Galena. Good look, but good pursuit by Johnson. Knocks it out of bounds, so it'll stay with the Indians under the basket. Wartrick with the basketball, looking to inbounds it. Gets it into Hutcherson at the sideline. Hutcherson in towards the lane. Bump, no foul call. Gets it out to Wartrick. Sets her feet, 3-pointer, no good. Rebound, Emily Hutcherson back up, no good, but she's fouled. She'll go to the line and shoot 2. So Hutcherson goes to the line to settle in to shoot 2. Indians lead 29-17, 6:44 left to go in this game.
Just awful frustrating. Seems like they can't get the plays to finish out like they were in the first half.
Hutcherson's first free throw off the rim, no good. So the free throw struggles continue for the Indians. Hutcherson settles in for her second. As sub Downey comes back in for Galena. Second free throw is right through there by Hutcherson. 30-17, 13-point lead for the Indians. 6:44 left to go here in the 4th quarter. Jensen with the basketball, feeds it off the corner down. He shot on its way, no good, and rebound on the backside by Galena by Scaro. Feeds it back up top to Cox, crosses over against Bradshaw, feeds it back to Scaro. Scaro driving on Doherty, feeds it out to Cox. Cox to Downey, shot from up above the free throw line, touches nothing, and it'll go to the Indians.
Bulldogs are one and thought he got tipped.
I didn't think it was tipped neither. I thought she just missed it. But the ref, he patiently waited to see if any of his teammate officials seen it being tipped. They all said no, so it goes back to the Indians. Wartrick crosses the timeline. She almost carried it. Gets it to Bradshaw. Shot on the way by Bradshaw. Good. And that's a 3-pointer. The first one on the game by, I believe, by the Indians. I think the Bulldogs have one also. Cox into the lane hard. Not very good defense by the Indians. Let her go right down the middle of the lane. A timeout by Galena. Coach is terribly upset with the officials. 30-second timeout. We'll be back after this 30-second timeout. You listen to St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Welcome back to Billy Fager Fieldhouse here in St. Paul, where the Lady Indians lead 33-19 over the Bulldogs of Galena. St. Paul basketball, 5:53 left to go in the game. Doherty feeds it back to Watrick, back over to Hutcherson. Count is on. Hutcherson down the sideline to Bradshaw. Shot on the way from the baseline. Good. Claire Bradshaw heating up here in this fourth quarter. Jensen with the ball, crosses the timeline, gives it to Johnson, picked up by Coombs, cut off her. She dribbles back and forth, right to left. Feeds it inside, good feed inside to McNamer, and she scores against Watrick. Watrick to the corner to Hutcherson. Hutcherson in the double team, feeds it back to Watrick. Dangerous pass. She's going to be fouled on the floor by Jensen. She's just fouled out of the game. That's going to send Watrick to the line to shoot. Is that the 9th or 10th team foul on Galena? I believe it's just the 9th, so still the 1-and-1 for the last time for the Indians. Jensen's just fouled out of the game, and a sub comes in for the Bulldogs. And that will be number 5, Newman, checks into the game for the Bulldogs. Watrick settles in. It is 2 shots. 10th team foul on the Bulldogs. She misses badly off the side iron on the right side. 35-21, 14-point lead for the Indians. 5:23 left to go in the game. Second shot on its way, no good. And Newman with the rebound. Down the sideline to Newman, That was McNeamer with the rebound. Ahead to Newman. Now Bradshaw with the rebound off the Galena miss. Bradshaw bounce pass over to Hutcherson. Hutcherson at the timeline with the basketball as Struthers comes back to the scores table. Inside to Coombs. Coombs drive inside. Good on the layup. Good drive inside.
St. Paul's starting to find their shot right now.
Newman back up top. And a steal by Bradshaw on the knockaway down for the right-handed layup, and it is no good. Short. Coombs fights for the rebound. 2 of them end up on the floor. It's going to be a jump ball. Possession arrow with the Indians. Good hustle that time on Bradshaw with the steal. Struthers comes into the game for Doherty as Watrick set to put the ball in play under the Indians' basket. Feeds it up top to Hutcherson. Hutcherson into the lane. Shot up on its way. No good. Too strong. Coombs with the rebound. And it'll be a foul. She'll go line shoot 2. Good rebound in there by the Indians by Coombs. 4:32 left to go in this ball game. 37-21. What do you think of the Indians so far, Keith?
Well, I don't know. It seems like they have spurts of looking pretty good, and then spurts of just looking really bad. And I think some of that is that Galena's looks like they're starting to fatigue a little bit from that full court pressure. That'll take it out of you.
Coombs makes her first free throw. Second free throw is good by Coombs. 39-21. All of a sudden, 18-point lead for the Indians. So Cox with the basketball to Johnson. Back to McNeamer. McNeamer at the elbow. Had a chance to take a shot. Now she drives in for the shot. Makes it. She's fouled. Not a good play at all by the Indians. They had her stopped at the elbow. Kind of relaxed for a moment. McNeamer drove down that left side and scores as Doherty comes back in as Coombs just picked up her 4th foul, so not a good foul by Coombs. Wait a minute, we got to have somebody else in. We don't have enough players on the floor as Bradshaw comes out. We only got 4 players. I don't know. Yes, Claire Bradshaw. stays in the game. She was supposed to come out. Now they get her figured out. And McNeamer to the line to shoot the and one. It's up and right through there, so a three-point play the old-fashioned way for McNeamer. Indians feed it in. Wartrick with the basketball. Feeds it down the sideline to Doherty. Doherty dribbles around the double team at the baseline. Now in a little bit of trouble, and she's going to get called for the walk.
She just tried to spin out of that and lifted that foot.
4:12 left to go in the game. Kind of slowing down here with a lot of turnovers here. 15-point lead for the Indians. Cox with the basketball for the Bulldogs. Down towards the baseline. Back up towards the top of the key. Johnson shot from the baseline. No good. And that's going to be a foul on Bradshaw. Whoa. As Cox ends up on the floor for the Bulldogs, it wasn't as flagrant as the, excuse me, as the Galena fans think. And that's going to be a double bonus shot for Cox. Shoot back up and going to the free throw line as Bradshaw is just trying to get a little room on the block out. 39-24, 15-point lead for the Indians. 3:57 left to go in the game.
Yeah, they're having a little conference down the middle about what went on there, and I don't know what they're thinking.
As Cox comes to the line to shoot two. After the discussion, 2 shots by Cox. First shot on its way and rattles in there and good by Cox. 39-26 Indians lead. 3:57 left to go in the game. Bradshaw comes out. 4th foul on Clara Bradshaw. Cox settles in for her second. 39-26 is the score. She makes her second. Hutcherson with the basketball. Cross-court pass to Wartrick. Wartrick down the court to Doherty. Doherty drives that baseline again. Now she pulls it back out. As Wartrick shakes a shot inside the three-point line off the back iron. No good. Rebound is fought for. Comes down. Struthers with it. Backdoor pass to Doherty in between her legs as she tries to get it out. Timeout as we had temporary possession of the basketball. 30-second timeout by Coach Tuck. We'll be back after this 30-second timeout. You're listening to St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Oh, welcome back to Billy Fager Fieldhouse. 3:37 left to go in the game. 39-26 Indians up by 13 and have possession of the basketball. 10 team fouls on each team, so double bonus the rest of the way for each team.
St. Paul needs to kind of settle down a little bit and take their time. They're no use to get in and take a quick shot.
Like that.
Yeah.
Hutcherson with a quick shot, and she misses, has it partially blocked. Rebound to Cox for the Bulldogs. Cox picked up by Struthers. Now it gives to McNeamer. Niemer, wild shot on the way, no good. She's going to go to the line and shoot two. Stops that clock again. Doherty with the foul. As McNeamer goes to the line to shoot two with 3:22 left in the game. First foul on Doherty. Shooting two, well short. No rim by McNeamer. Hard drive to the basket by her, the young sophomore. Logging a lot of minutes for the Bulldogs tonight.
4 fouls, too.
Second shot on its way. Rattles in good as McCracken feeds the ball into Hutcherson. Now cross court to Wartrick. Wartrick down the court and out of bounds. Luckily, is Galena on the steal, and they'll stay with the Indians.
McNeamer has 6 points in the fourth quarter alone and I think 10 points on the night.
Scaro comes back into the game, replacing Newman for the Bulldogs. On the court for the Indians is Wartrick, McCracken, Hutcherson, Doherty, and Struthers. Wartrick drives above the timeline, feeds it into Hutcherson, and a lot of traffic, knocked around, saved inbounds to McCracken. McCracken in trouble, now feeds it to the center of the free throw line, stolen away by Cox, and now a quick foul by Struthers is going to stop the clock again and send the Bulldogs back to the line to shoot two. The Indians, the last thing they want to do is stop the clock with a 12-point lead, and that's exactly what they've done, is turn the ball over on offense or take a quick shot and then foul on defense. That's a good way to let a team right back into the game. Cox misses her first free throw as Bradshaw and Coombs checks in for Struthers and McCracken.
Now St. Paul needs to transition into holding on to this lead. They're letting them back into the game. They had a 15-point or 16-point lead at one time. Now it's down to 12, 13.
Cox right back up to the line. Second shot is right through there and good, 1 of 2. Hutcherson with the basketball, 11-point lead for the Indians. 3:03 left to go in the game. Hutcherson with the ball, timeline, crosses half court, feeds it ahead to Bradshaw, back out to Wartrick as she sets up above the timeline. Downey comes up to the timeline to pick her up, now drops back, now comes back up. Wartrick drives in towards the lane, kicks it out to Hutcherson. Hutcherson ball fake, bounce pass to Coombs, dangerous pass, tipped. Coombs gets it off to Bradshaw. Indians being a bit more patient here this possession on offense. Bradshaw pressured up by McNeamer, gets it off to Hutcherson, back off to Wartrick. 2:28 left to go in the game. Wartrick in the lane, shot up hard, no good. Rebound, Johnson. Johnson feeds it ahead to Cox. Cox spins in the lane, shot up, no good. Gets her own rebound. She's fouled from behind, and I think that's going to be the 5th foul on Katie Coombs. It's either on Coombs or Doherty. Maybe it's on neither one of them. It was on Katie Coombs, 33, and she's just fouled out of the game. Indians up by 11, 2:17 as McCracken comes right back into the game for the Indians.
It'll be interesting to see if McNeamer lights it up even more now.
Cox to the line to shoot two. 2:17 left to go in the game. She misses the first. 39-28, Indians up by 11, 2:17 left to go in this game. Not too long ago, the Indians up was led by 18. So pretty good run in the last 3 minutes by Galena. Second shot is good. So all of a sudden, it is a 10-point ball game with 2 minutes left to go in the game. Hutcherson with it. Feeds it down the court to Bradshaw. Bradshaw to the corner to McCracken. McCracken dribbles back up, resets to Hutcherson up by the timeline, guarded by Downey. A lot of pressure out there. Drives into the free lane. Shot up and good by Emily Hutcherson.
Nice drive, nice shot by Emily on that one.
McNeamer right back down the court for the Bulldogs. She picks up her dribble. Now looks across court, pass over in the corner to Newman. Newman drives in, and she's going to be fouled, and the clock stops again.
East Doherty looks like she might have hurt her ankle on that one.
Looks like they both got tangled up. As maybe Doherty steps on Cox's foot. She ended up on, or not Cox, excuse me, Newman. Foot, she ended up on the floor too, so Newman will go to the line to shoot two. 41-29, Indians up by 12. First shot on its way, no good. Boy, the last 4 minutes of this game has seemed like it's lasted about an hour and a half, Keith.
Mm-hmm. All the fouling and the turnovers, and then it's been crazy.
Newman's second shot on its way, and off the back iron, no good. Rebound, Hutcherson. Hutcherson pressured in the backcourt by Downey, feeds it ahead to Wartrick. Wartrick going to be triple teamed up there, feeds it back to Hutcherson. Opposite corner, she drives in towards the lane, now feeds it to McCracken. Shot, left-handed shot, no good. Rebound by Newman, feed ahead to Cox. Cox loses it for a second, left-hand layup, no good. Elise Doherty fights out there with it, and that's going to be a foul on Johnson. And that's going to send Doherty to the line to shoot two with 1:25 left to go in this game. That'll send Elise Doherty to the line, shoot two. Fourth foul on Cox, number 12, or Johnson, excuse me, number 12 for the Bulldogs.
Both teams have a player out due to fouls. J.C. Jensen for the Bulldogs, Katie Coombs for the Indians.
I believe this is Doherty's first trip to the free throw line in the game. First free throw is right up and through there by Doherty. as Scarro checks back in for Newman. 1:25 left to go in the game. 42-29. Indians up by 13. Doherty off the back iron, no good. Don't foul. Johnson with the rebound. Feeds it ahead of him. It's Johnson's 5th foul. There's just, and not that they're calling fouls that don't need to be called, but there's just been a lot of fouls committed on each team tonight. Both teams in the double bonus. In that, at the end of the first quarter, early in that second quarter, and now early in the fourth quarter, and it's just really has made this game draw down to a snail's pace. Indians with 13-point lead. Bradshaw goes the line to shoot 2. First shot off the side iron, no good by Bradshaw. With 1:13 left to go in the game, 42-29. Second free throw on its way and good, 1 for 2. That trip was Bradshaw at the free throw line. Cox with the basketball, dribbles with her left hand, hard against Bradshaw. Stolen away for an instant. Now ends up in Newman's hand. Now fed back to McNair. No good. McNeamer, excuse me. Back up top. 3-point shot by Cox, top of the key. Good. Timeout, Bulldogs with 51.4 left to go in the game. 43-32, 11-point lead for the Indians. 30-second timeout. We'll be back after this 30-second timeout. You're listening to St. Paul Basketball on Hot 105. Welcome back to Billy Fager Fieldhouse. Lady Indians lead by 11, 43-32 over the Bulldogs of Galena with less than a minute to go in this ball game. Both boys teams on the sideline waiting to warm up here to get the second game off. Stick around for our KW Trucking post-game show, and then we'll roll right back into our Richie's Pharmacy pregame show. Our title sponsor is Farmers Bank. McCracken set to put the ball in play for the Indians. Here comes the press by the Bulldogs. Will probably foul to stop this clock, see if the Indians can miss the free throws. Indians in double bonus as well as the Bulldogs. A lot of pressure on the inbounds. Gets it into Hutcherson. Ooh, she almost stepped out of bounds. Down the sideline she goes. Cross court pass to Bradshaw. Left-hand layup good by Claire Bradshaw. Good press break by the Indians. Cox with the basketball for the Bulldogs. Drives against Bradshaw. Kicks it out to Downey. Downey with the ball fake. Now stolen away by Hutcherson. Tipped away by Galena, and she's going to step out of bounds. Good steal by Newman, but she stepped out of bounds. Emily Hutcherson might have been better off just slowing that up, pulling that back up top with 29 seconds left to go with a 13-point lead as Wartrick set to put the ball in play for the Indians as Watkins comes to the scores table for the Bulldogs. Timeout, Coach Tuck, and it will be a full timeout. So we'll be back after this 1 minute timeout. You're listening to St. Paul Basketball on Hot 105.
To you or to who? Keep on.
welcome back to Billy Fager Fieldhouse and another timeout by the Indians. We'll go ahead and stay here. Stick around for our KW Trucking postgame show. Indians had trouble getting the ball inbounds out of that timeout, so the Indians have to call another timeout. Only full timeouts left. Indians lead 45-32, trying to get this game over with and come out with their first victory of the year.
Well, it seems like they came out strong, as we said before, then they kind of backed off a little bit. I think they had a lot of trouble with that full court press, and then I think St. Paul's kind of figured it out a little bit, but they also, I think Galena ran a little bit out of gas too at the time. Kind
of what you expect out of a first game, I think, probably by each team, especially with only 2 seniors for the Bulldogs on the court to start the game, and only one, or on the roster, and only 1 senior on the roster for the Indians. A lot of returning playing time for the Indians, but also 3 young freshmen to get in there.
The freshmen have done pretty well, Dan, would you say? I mean,
I would
really look good.
I would say they've played quite well. All
at least
3
too, yeah.
Very athletic young ladies and good ball handling squad for the Indians. It's just, you knew the holes was going to be on. Now there's a foul underneath. I think that's going to be away from the ball. That's going to send the Indians to the line to shoot 2. I think it's going to send Bradshaw to the line to shoot 2. Kind of what you'd expect, though, Keith, that struggled from everywhere on the court, getting some shots to fall. Very aggressive, never slowed down, I've never worried about taking an open shot. That's the good part of it. They've struggled from the free throw line, which is part of their shooting woes. So see if they can clean that up. I know Coach Tuck's not going to be happy with missing as many free throws as they have. You've got to shoot better than 40% from the free throw line, and I don't think we have. I know we didn't in the first half, and I'm pretty sure that overall game stat will not show that we've shot any better than that for the whole game, and that's not going to cut it. We've shot a lot of free throws too, as Bradshaw just misses 2. I think I jinxed her. 25 seconds left to go in the game. Indians up by 13, and turnover by the Bulldogs. Hutcherson on the breakaway. Now she dribbles out. Good, smart play by Emily Hutcherson. Back up top to Watrick. Now back over to Hutcherson. 15 seconds left. As the Bulldogs are just going to kind of lay back a little bit. Still up close on that man-to-man, but not fouling here with under 10 seconds left to go. Watrick with the basketball. Resets over to McCracken. So the Indians, Lady Indians, are going to get out of here with a 45-32 victory in the opening game of the season. So good start for the Indians. We'll be back with our KW Trucking Show after this 2-minute timeout. You're listening to St. Paul Basketball on Hot 105.
Go down here in a little bit.
Okay, we'll do stats right when we come back.
Okay.
Oh, welcome back to Billy Fager Fieldhouse, where the Lady Indians come out with a victory over the Galena Bulldogs, 45-32. Welcome to our KW Trucking post-game show. As Keith finishes up stats here, we'll roll right into stats because he's got to go down and pull double duty on the announce and starting lineups again. So, Keith, what do we got for first half stats?
Yeah, it looks like St. Paul really came out in that fourth quarter and started hitting some shots because they had top scorer for St. Paul was Katie Coombs at 15 points. Then Claire Bradshaw with 11 and Emily Hutchinson with 8. Taylor Watrick finished with 5 points, all those in the second half. The free throw shooting wasn't that hot either. You've got that stuff on your stat sheet there, but the Bulldogs, they came out in the fourth quarter and started scoring too. They had 9 points from Madison Cox just in the fourth quarter alone. Her total was 14 on the game. 2 points from Emery Johnson, and then 10 points from Riley McNeemer, and that's how they finished up there. So.
A pretty good game put together by the Lady Indians. They just shot 43% from the free throw line, 13 for 30. So free throw shooting definitely needs to improve. 1 for 10 for three-point land for 10%. It's not hard to figure. From two-point land, 50%, and from the field, 40%. As Key said, Coombs was the leading scorer. She shot 7 for 11 from two-point land, 63 from the floor for 63%. So good job by her playing down at the post, and a lot of good hard work at down low on the post. So pretty good effort by the Indians. Let's look down here at rebound totals. Rebound total 31 for the game, 20 defensively, 11 offensively, with 20 turnovers. Coach Tuck's not going to be happy with that, and 7 steals on the game, and 28 total fouls by the Indians. That's what really slowed that game down. And it was just as bad on the other side by the Bulldogs.
Yeah, they had on the quick calculation, right about 27 fouls themselves. So,
as we get set for Richie's Pharmacy pregame, so here we're going to go ahead and take another break. We're going to take a little bit of extended break. Stick around as both boys teams on the floor warming up. We'll be back after the extended break. You're listening to St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Are you there? Okay. I'll holler at you when I get back, okay? You can play a song if you want. All right, thanks. Are you there? Okay. You playing a song? That's all right. Go ahead and play another one if you want, would you? How much is left on here so I can kind of look at the clock? 40 seconds? Okay, that'll be just right. How much now? You there? Yeah. Welcome back to Billy Fager Fieldhouse here in St. Paul. Thanks for listening to the Richie's Pharmacy pregame show. We're about 3 minutes till tip-off on the boys' game. Both teams finishing their warm-ups here before we start this second game. The Lady Indians come out with a nice victory in the opening game of the season over the Galena Bulldogs. We'll see what the Indian boys can get set to do here against the Bulldogs. A lot of holes to fill for the Indians, graduating a big senior class. Kenny Haney and Colin Carlson, the lone two seniors on the squad for the Indians. boys game. The Bradshaw boys are going to have to step up into a huge role here in the varsity game. Adam Albertini and Caleb Lemons. Colin Carlson coming back out for basketball this year. Good to see Colin on the court. You know what you're going to get out of him every game, in and out. Nothing but good effort out of Colin Carlson with a nice football career and trying to finish off his senior season here alongside his senior teammate Kenny Haney. Kenny Haney, a returning senior or starter from last year. Easton Dent also with a lot of playing time. So the Indians, no lack of experience on the court. But with the big senior squad graduating last year, there will be a lot of scoring holes to fill and see what the Indians can come up with here and see who steps up to be the scorers here. Expect a lot of pressure out of the Indians. Good hustle, good athletic team will be put on the floor for the Indians. Not real deep, just 9 boys suiting up for the varsity. Just 8 boys, just 8 boys suiting up for the varsity squad here. They're about 1 minute till tip up. Galena, not sure what all they'll have this year. I don't know about their graduating class from last year, so we'll see how they step up here with their starting lineup here in about a minute 19. I want to thank everybody for listening to the final of the KW Trucking postgame show, and now back into the Richie's Pharmacy pregame show. Our halftime show will be brought to you by Labette Health, and our title sponsor is Farmers Bank. Also want to thank everybody for watching on the live stream and all our sponsors that makes that possible for you to watch at home. Just go to the 1055 KKOY website, click on the St. Paul Indian banner, and it'll take you right to a YouTube live stream. It should say stream live. If it doesn't say St. Paul versus Galena, that's my I changed it on the computer, but for some reason I don't think it's coming across the internet. Starters for the Galena Bulldogs. Cooper Lawson, a senior. For St. Paul, Caleb Lemons, a 5'10 junior for the Indians. For Galena, number 5, J.C. Shelton. I remember that name and number from last year. We'll get to start. He's a senior for the Bulldogs. Adam Albertini, another 5'9 junior for the Indians, coming off a great football season.
For the Bulldogs, number 11, M.J. Jones.
Number 11, M.J. Jones, another senior for the Bulldogs. 3 seniors on the floor, and now 3 juniors. Easton Dent steps on the floor for the Indians, a 6'2 junior. And for the Bulldogs, Blake Booth, number 13, a senior, gets the start for the Bulldogs. And for the Indians, Kenny Haney will get the start for the Indians. One of the 2 seniors on the roster. Haney, 6'2 senior. Plays bigger than that. Haney with long arms. Number 23 for the Bulldogs, Logan Henderson, a junior. And for the Indians, number 24, Chandler Bradshaw, the junior. So 4 juniors and a senior on the squad for the Indians. 4 seniors and 1 junior on the floor for the Bulldogs.
Correction, that was number 23, Logan Henderson.
Logan Henderson, yeah, for the Bulldogs on the floor. Logan Henderson, a good height. They don't have heights here, but he's 6'3", maybe 6'4". It's a lot of good height there underneath. That'll be a handful for Haney or Bradshaw Dent, somebody to cover down there on the post. As we get set to get underway here, thanks for listening to our Richie's Pharmacy pregame show. As Kenny Haney steps up to jump center against Henderson to get this game underway and the boys' season underway. Everybody set here on the court. Coaches give their final instructions. Nice crowd on hand for the St. Paul Indians on opening night here in St. Paul. As here comes the tip. Henderson controls the tip. Now Albertini comes up with it. Albertini comes out by the timeline, resets, picks up his dribble, feeds it out to Lemons up at the top of the timeline, feeds it off to Bradshaw. Bradshaw over to Dent. Dent back to Albertini. Shot on the way by Albertini, way too hard. Rebound off Shelton. And Galena controls the rebound to Lawson. Lawson back to Shelton. Shelton dribbles with his right hand. Now back up top and over to the left wing to Blake Booth. Booth back to Shelton. Shelton resets back to Booth, down to the corner to Henderson. Now back up top to number 11, Jones. Back over to Booth. Booth holds the ball at right wing to Jones, to the corner to Henderson. Now feed inside, tipped away, and pulled by the Indians, Albertini. Albertini brings the ball down the floor for the Indians, feeds it off to Lemons. Lemons opens for a three. Good. Oh, look good. Oh, sorry. That's my bad. It looked good.
It did.
From here, but it went wide to the left. I guess I shouldn't call it until I see it go through the net, as it's blocked by Dent. Now gets his own rebound. Now Haney with a baseline shot. Lawson looks inside, now feeds to Shelton. Three-point shot by him. Good. J.C. Shelton gets the first points on the board for the Bulldogs for either team, and they lead 3-0. Lemons feeds it up to Albertini. Albertini nothing off a Shelton three-pointer to start this ball game off. 5:40 left to go here in the fat. Now a steal by Galena, loses it out of bounds, and it'll go back to.
He was lucky. You don't